Hello, my name is Sofia Gillani. I'm a singer-songwriter from London, but now based in Surrey. I have released 6 singles, and I'm releasing a new one called Monster on the 3rd of March. And I think that's about it.
Nice. So wait, you're originally from London?
Yes, I
Oh,
am.
that's so cool. So London to me is like somewhere it's like a dream location to go because of the art culture there. Like not even just music, like fashion and like
Yeah.
the history of it all. So that seems like a really cool place to like develop as an artist growing up.
There's a huge community there. I mean, everywhere you go, like depends on where you go, but in the center of London, there definitely is loads of different people, like street artists. There's also like really high end fashion. So there's a lot to draw influences from. Definitely growing up in London, especially since my dad was a musician as well, and he had all these other connections in music. I feel like my style has definitely originated from London, and now that I'm in Surrey, I'm like whole new area, but definitely, yeah, hearts in London.
What about London do you think can like did you notice once you moved the things in London that stayed with you, or is like obviously unique to London and your new location?
Yeah. London, there's so many opportunities there. It's so diverse. There's always something happening around every corner. In Surrey, it's a lot more quieter, nice in a way, like peaceful quieter. But I do go to London anyway from time to time because there's always something going on, whether it's a gig or a podcast or, there's always something going on there. So I never truly left London. It's just like, I think it's just about the range of people and the range of genres that is there. Right.
Interesting. How far away are they from each other?
Um, Train half an hour.
Oh,
Honestly, it's not that
cool.
far.
That's
Funny
not
enough.
bad at all. I love that y'all have better public transportation to the
Yeah.
United States. That's so much smoother than having to get a car and go about. So like that's
Oh
probably,
yeah.
have you ever
Definitely.
like coming to the United States with your music?
Oh, it would be a dream. I would love to come. I mean, I want to tour globally someday, and definitely America would be one of my destinations. Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I listened to your song and I think it's really good. Like I'm originally from Austin, Texas, but like I can see your music doing really good in New York because I lived in New York for like a year, and your music is like a song that can go like I'm really into big into fashion, and like
Yeah.
I worked retail too. It's one of those songs that can like we usually would always have tracks, certain tracks.
Yeah.
It's one of those that could just go throughout the day. You know what I mean? Like it flows throughout, and it's not one of those songs where it's like annoying. It has a nice melody where it's just like it can play in the background. And not even just like if you're shopping or something, but like if you're studying or
Mhm.
just like chilling out. I think it's one of those songs where it's calm enough, but it's still beautiful and long enough to where it can just go into like a playlist like that. And I think that's really,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Oh, thank you so much.
oh, for real, it's actually really good. So I'm glad that you're like dropping new music. And that's actually really exciting because March there we have this thing called South by Southwest in Austin, and
Yeah.
it's like around March 8th or 10th. So like it's you're like popping out. It just is the start of like summer sounds and music. So it's
Yeah.
good that you're like dropping around that same time too over there.
Yeah, I love summer. Summer's like I'm way more happier in summer. Like winter's great and everything, but like summer is it. All the concerts happen, everyone's happy, everyone's in the mood to listen to music. Summer is, you know?
Yeah. How's the weather over there right now?
Pardon?
How's the weather over there right now? Is it good? Or is it? Oh, oh no.
Love England, but it's just it fluctuates so much. You have to hope that it'll be a nice sunny day. Some days it's like amazing,
Mhm.
it's sunny, let's go have a barbecue. And the other day it's like, oh, it's raining bloody murder. So I mean, it's good, but it's usually way better in summer. January, February months like proper icy and like got to defrost your cars and all that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just
Interesting.
really
Does it like impact your creative process when the weather's different?
it depends on my day in general. My music is based off of like my messages and what happens in my life. Obviously, being quite young, it's like going through all these stages in life and learning new things. I think the weather is definitely there, but it's more about times in my life. Like today, I had a good day, got my nails done. Like,
Yes.
you know? So I would have done a happier kind of song today if I did, and I was writing, I'll admit. But yeah, I think it's just time in my life more like.
Cool, because some people, some artists I know, they tend to like stick to like, I'm always gonna make this type of sound, or like it's not influenced by environment at all, or like it's so pre-planned. So I think it's cool that you sort of just go with the flow of it all.
I literally write my songs on my notes app, and then my dad's like seeing what I'm writing, and like I don't actually come up with the titles of the song until after I've written the song. So like they can just see like my notes app, and it's all just random letters that I had to put while I was like trying to write the song. But yeah, definitely I can't pre-plan anything, otherwise it feels kind of forced, in my opinion. I mean, some people have their own style, aesthetic, etc. But
So
no,
with
I
Monster, like what made you come up with that name then, if you did it afterwards?
I generally, there we go. When I like write the songs and stuff and sing it and like whatever, I think about the general feel of the song. And if someone with raw ears was listening to it, and I have had people with raw ears feedback, all that, they like tell me what they thought of it. And through all that feedback, I kind of do come up with a title. And with the song that I'm releasing on 3rd of March, it is literally in the chorus like all the time. But it has like a very dark, spooky feel. And I thought, you know what? I'll leave this out to interpretation and allow people to think monster. It's only one word. You know, people can think, what is their monster? Blah, blah, blah. Give the song its their own personal meaning. So
That makes sense. I see, when I'm such a visual person, so like when I hear a song, I can create like entire movie in my head. So I like I thinking like I see like 2000s fashion runway underground scene New York, like when I'm listening to it, and I see like I can see like colors with sound. So I can see definitely like purples, dark purples, black with like a gray undertone, not white, like a gray lighting. So I think
yeah.
that's really cool that you used Monster for that, because I definitely can like capture an entire feeling from that. So that's really cool. Do you plan on maybe doing a music video for this? I think you should.
For Monster, I actually have. It's coming out on the same day. I think in a few. I can send you some images, but on the press release, I have like some like screenshots from it. Monster's definitely more of like when you look at the music video, the story behind it. Some of my music videos are more just kind of artsy based, but this is definitely more of a story. So I'm excited for
Oh,
you guys.
cool. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be really good. I'm excited. So in terms of like playing, I know you write your music and everything like that, but like some people, they're good at like just recording and putting it out, and then they don't want to necessarily perform live or go on tour. Do you feel comfortable doing stuff like that, like going on tour, performing live in front of
I
audiences?
I love performing live because nothing is better than seeing your audience hyped up, because you know it's your music. So like when people are having a good reaction to it, or like dancing or whatever, having a good time, that's my main kind of like ethos. Um it's an amazing feeling. It's like no other. And you know, I've had some amazing gigs in 2022, and there's so much in happening in 2023. And I just feel like doing it more, especially since the pandemic, now I can actually go out and perform without having to worry about too much. With global tours and stuff, I get to connect with people that I wouldn't normally connect with, if that makes sense. Like in different countries, I have a general idea of people who listen to it, but there's nothing better than seeing everyone listening to your music. And like, you know, you can have a bit of like fun when you're performing as well, because you're singing it, you're pointing at people, doing all these fun gestures. It's just, music is about connection for me. It's like pure joy when I produce and people like it. Um, Hence why this interview is so fun. But yeah, definitely touring is like, and performing live is one of my favorite things in the music industry when it comes to it.
That's good, because I for example, like Summer Walker is a singer, R&B singer, and she's more like nervous to do that. And I'm like, oh, she's so good. She doesn't need to be nervous. Like, we like
Yeah.
music, like come on out. So it's good to hear that you actually enjoy performing live, because I feel like not everyone might enjoy that. And I also was wondering, I think it's cool too that you say like connecting with the audiences in different places, because I watched this documentary with Little Baby, who's a rapper, and he was saying like there's like a universal story wherever you go that's just like people can relate to. And that's the story that he's telling, because he was like, I wouldn't know if I went to this other country that people would listen to this or like this. And it's like we all have like a story we can relate through music, and I think that's why I really enjoy it as well.
Yeah, that is honestly because people have been telling me like what the song means to them or what they see when they think of the song. And when I hear it, I just love seeing different perspectives, different viewpoints. Because it's stuff that I would never think about myself, because I obviously have my kind of when the song comes out, I have a set vision for what I think the song means to me, hence the reason why I like write my own songs, etc. But just seeing other people and what they feel, how they connect to my songs is beautiful, nothing like it.
So nice. So with I'm glad that you're able to do some performances in 2022, because a lot of places were really shut down. Like I didn't know New York was as shut down as it was until I moved there.
Yeah.
Compared to Texas in the South, like we pretty much stayed open a lot. So like concerts weren't as stopped down here as there. So do you think, like, I just feel like there's a tension in the music industry of like things are building up for just artists to start going because they've like been sitting on work for so long. Do you feel
Yeah,
that as well?
I definitely do. I feel like because through the pandemic, all I was doing was singing, writing, recording. It was like that exact logo. So, I've been itching to put out like content and stuff. I can't give it all away, even though I give out spoilers too much. Um, um, I feel like definitely everyone's kind of brewing along, and I think 2023 is definitely because it just started, or it's supposed to start already in February, God's sake. Everyone's really ready to just let it all out, do like Glastonbury and all these festivals and stuff, and just have loads of free fun without having to worry about everything else that's been happening in life. But
Yes. I agree. I just feel like it's been so, I think it's going to be a good music year in terms of like just different sounds too, because I feel like y'all were able to probably experiment with like what y'all are doing at home since you have more of that free time. So do you
yeah.
think your sound, or like do you feel like you came up with something you probably wouldn't have if you were able to like just focus on also doing live performances?
I feel like with the pandemic, I had to reflect on myself a little bit. And in that, there was definitely some like funky lyrics, different kinds of beats. I mean, me and my producers were joshing around, seeing what we were like feeling, we were vibing. And, I think everyone in the pandemic was like, everyone was inside. There was like the kind of vibe, like, oh God. So when it comes to that, I just, like, I express myself through music. So when it comes to it, we did so much different, so many different genres that I wouldn't have thought of. We did like I'm an like R&B pops kind of singer, but we even tried like hip hop at one point. There was jazz, rock. Oh my god, there was rock. I even started rapping in my songs. So definitely. And that was like it was really fun in the sense. I'm glad that I got to experiment a bit, and I probably will be experimenting more in the future. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually really cool. Cause like even like the song you that I listened to, Monster, I feel like it's like that. It's like that alternative, like pop R&B mixture of like FKA Twigs Lane. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know like Yeast Tumor, like just a lane of that, of like those like Steve Lacy, like those type of people of like you can hear instruments, but it's just so mixed. You can tell it's a
Mm.
mixture, and you can tell that you're like in an area that is mixed and has like different cultures. I love that about music. Like just like not having any context behind someone and just like listening to it and be like, huh, I can sort of pick up on their
Yeah.
energy a little.
Yeah, like we do it, and then like the next week they send me like the actual like track, or they send me my vocals, and I'm like, what happened at 9 p.m. last week? What really went on? What? So that, and I'm picky as like I am very particular. I like my music to have a certain sound, so I will spend ages on ages doing layering, harmonies, vocals, doing like 10 15 takes on one verse for it to come out and stuff. So yeah, with experimenting, it definitely gave me more of a range to like think about and like to really kind of get down to the nitty gritty of my
So
music.
with that, because of the fact that like music is one of those things where there's like no full conclusion or stop of like this is done or whatever, how do you know when it's like, okay, I've edited this enough, this is where it needs to be, I'm not touching it anymore?
If I'm really honest with you, I've never really had like, boom, that's perfect. I've always had like a part of me like that like has my song and I love it and it's amazing, but now I'm gonna perform it live. Now I'm gonna go over the top and belt this one high note that's like ridiculously high and completely change the song. I mean, I did that with Water Run Dry. There's this one note where it's supposed to be like really nice and short, and I end up doing like a vibrato run riff thing in lives. But I like that. I like having the song and then just building on it. It gives my songs its own weird character development, which I love. So I've never really had yes. I mean, I have that like yes, but not like that is it. Like that's all I'm gonna do because I'm always learning. So there's
Yeah.
always to do, you know?
Oh, that's interesting because I feel like I can be that way just in terms of my like whatever I'm doing artistically. I'll be like, is this
Yeah.
not like I just have to tell myself like don't touch it anymore because I'll like paint
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, learn to say no, Jasmine. It's okay. It's new now. And I think
Yeah.
like with when you because you said like your producers will also come up with like cool sounds and things like that. Do they go through the same process of how how are y'all like working together? Because some people are like in person and they can be like, I think this is good, we should call it a day or something, versus like the pandemic making people work separately a lot and having their own like in-home studios. So how does that process work for you?
Well, I record all my vocals in the studio, and that studio may be at my house because I have got some of the equipment because my dad used to be a musician. But the producers that I work with, I met most of them through the pandemic. So they were either really like north of England or like in different countries. And with that, it was like we had like loads of Zoom meetings, FaceTimes, calls. So with coming up with songs. Some of them I've met in person, some of them have been mainly calls. It is mainly calls, but because we always, if we have like an idea, it's hard to see each other in person. So when something happens, we're like, all right, I need to call you at like 6 a.m. Let's talk about this and write about this, you know? So definitely calling.
That makes
But yeah.
sense. Like, I feel like that's how, like, originally when I wanted to do this, I was like, I need to get an office. I need people to come in, whatever. And I was like, me doing that is going to take so long. I just need to, like, reach out to people, hop on calls. Like, at the end of the day, good content is going to be good content. And,
Yeah.
like, I just love that we're in this type of world where we can do that. So, like, does your dad talk to you about this, like, his process versus, like, yours since he was a musician?
No, I'm joking. He's not here. My dad has given me so much knowledge about the music industry. He's helped me navigate it, you know, how to refine my technique because there is such a thing as going overboard and losing yourself in it. There's like two different like there's losing yourself in it in the good way and losing yourself in it in like, you let your music control you a little bit. But he's definitely given me advice on like okay, if you're going to do this, then maybe you should try thinking about this other factor that I never thought of that's now suddenly here. With the whole process of doing music, my dad actually joins in with the conversations that I have with my producers because he is kind of he is like there with me as the driving force because he's done this before and I have a different style to him. He did a completely different style, but with music I want it to be accessible to people, but it should also be accessible to people who want to make it. um so yeah, my dad has definitely helped me through the music industry, and he's helped me kind of lead the team and show who I am and express myself in a way that I probably like never would have thought of, but I'm glad that now I have, if that makes sense.
That's cool. So I love the fact that your dad also did it. And I was a minor in biology in college. So I have like a huge thing with psychology and biology and
Yeah.
applies to stuff. So I was wondering, because he did music, do you think it was like an environmental thing that allowed you to like, okay, I'm like when you were a child, do you think being in that environment got you ready for it? Or do you think it's also genetics of like having just like a music natural talent?
I think it's a bit of both because I grew up around instruments. Like in the conservatory we used to have, now it's in the basement. There were like guitars everywhere, and my dad's old work, and a random piano, and like there's a piano right here. So like naturally, I thought, oh, what's that? Let me give it a go. But with I sing, so with my voice and stuff, it was listening to a lot of different music, growing up, and then in school, like that influence, like, oh my god, this talent show, let me a shy little me come out, and so, but also in a sense, like my dad does music, well, my mum doesn't do music, my mum does something completely different. So I feel like it was also kind of a thing for me. I would write down my feelings, diary or whatever, and I'd sing them, not in a cool, like I produce my own songs at 5-year old me, but like, but just the general idea of writing your feelings down, thinking it through, and then showing it to other people. But yeah, definitely a bit of both.
That's interesting because I feel like it's the same for me because my mom didn't tell me until I was older because I naturally just write as well. It doesn't even have to be about anything in particular, just poetic. I just like naturally am a journal person. And then she was like, "Oh, I kept so many journals growing up. Like that's exactly what I did secretly." And I was just like, "Huh, makes sense." And my dad is naturally just very artistic. Like he can draw and he is very like half business minded, half artistic. And I didn't realize until when I grew up, because they went completely different fields though, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize until like they opened up to me, like, I think you got a little bit of it from us. So I was just like, it's cool how it could be genetics and environment at the same time. That's
Like,
really
yeah, like I never really had any tantrums when I was little because if I felt like sad or upset, I'd draw like a random stick man on some notebook.
so
Or
good.
like I'd write my thoughts down.
Your mom was probably like, what a good baby. This is a good baby.
Great, they're already learning how to read and write.
Yourself. That's awesome. So like whenever you come to the US, like please come to
Yeah.
New York. Please add Austin to a tour stop because I would totally like this would be so cool to even do an interview in person,
I would love to meet you in person.
Yeah.
You seem so chill.
And then like if you could like even I would love if artists could just like even perform a little bit. Like I would totally get a studio to do that. And I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, honestly.
I think it's gonna happen because I believe in manifestation and allowing
You
people.
know,
Yeah.
I'm like every night, like I'm doing some not ritual, but like, what's it called? Affirmations and stuff. Like it's the universe has a plan, all that good stuff.
It's sort of like with your music, like so whenever you put it out, do you ever get nervous like what is gonna come through this? Or like do you feel I just released this for myself, so it doesn't really matter what comes out of it?
Mm. I feel like it's what I've actually done, like the type of project I've done, because I get nervous, like everyone gets nervous to show that they care. And so even with things like live performances, releasing new songs, you have like a nerve, but you have at some point you have to come to the conclusion that even if people don't like it, everyone has a different opinion. Some people will love it, some people might not like it, but they might like the next song. So even if you have those nerves of oh gosh, what if people don't like it? Or what if it flops? Like, you're doing this for you. Like, I've never really done it for like any sort of fame or whatever. I just like the connections and the joy that it brings me. I've just got to come to the conclusion at the end that, I've got to be happy with what I've got. This is me, my name's on it, my face on it, and I'm proud of it. So maybe if you don't like this one, you'll like the next one. Or if you don't like the next one, then maybe I'm not your kind of genre, or maybe you don't like what I'm doing right now, but you might like me in like 5 years' time.
I think that's a really great way to view things. And I think it's great for longevity. There's a thing in psychology that it's called like intrinsic value instead of extrinsic value. So like you're doing it to fulfill your own soul versus
Mhm.
like some outer thing. And that's what keeps people going longer, apparently, through some studies. And I think you have that. So that's really cool.
No, thank you. There's so, there's so much in these generations. We have like all this social media. As much as I love it and I like talking to people online, etc., I've been taught to always kind of take a break from that. The yada yada focus on real life, and music has definitely kind of centered my way through all these new things that are happening.
Yeah. I think it's important too as a musician too, because like there's TikTok now of like super pushing things out, like music wise. And I think some artists are feeling like they have to push out consistently or make something catered to a certain platform instead of just being themselves. So I think it's good to ground yourself and not be online all the time.
Yeah, especially with what like I post. I have a Instagram account, Sofia Gillani. And it's a music account, so everything on there is music. The only thing that would ever be personal, because I don't want to seem like a complete robot on social media, is like my highlights, and they're just like little snippets of my life, just so like, but not too much. Like I'm not taking photos for it. It's just something that I can just do, you know?
Balance. Is that a like, what is that in the corner? Is that another instrument?
It's a guitar.
So I was like, does that seem like I thought it was a guitar. That's
No, it's in the case. Can you see?
nice. You're just surrounded by it. That's beautiful.
Literally. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's actually so coincidental. I had no idea. Oh my gosh.
I love this. That is so neat. I'm just like in the corner right now trying to get some natural lighting.
I mean, Slay, you look amazing. So
Thank you.
I mean, it's dark here, but you
Like,
know.
I have another random question before we finish. Like, if whenever you're touring, what is your like style, like fashion wise? What do you
Oh
like?
god. Oh, depends. I mean, like I I love fashion, and I buy clothes that I think, oh god, that I think like look good on me or whatever. But if it's like a long set, I'm gonna do something comfy. I can't do any high heels for like half an hour. But if it's like a short set and it's supposed to be all the banger songs, and you want to go for it, so I'm very like, for like I did this one festival. It was like a pride festival. I went glitter all over the face. My hair was like up here. You know, I went full on glam, and then I did like a live lounge in this one restaurant. Huge crowd, great people, but it was definitely like jeans and a jumper and like some
Oh,
nice necklace. You
yeah.
know,
So
yeah.
that's really cool. I just love asking like what people's style are with things. So I honestly truly appreciate this conversation went by so fast. So
Yeah.
fast.